Okay. Now I'm going to talk about homeless shelters, particularly New York City. And I'm not really knowledgeable on Australian homeless shelters, but I can tell you about stuff I've seen from movies and that, documentaries more or less, about, homeless shelters in New York City. Now, somebody, and you may know who I'm talking about with all this, took in someone else who basically was down on their luck, out of a job, out of a house, and their only other option was a homeless shelter. So they took them to live in a small camper in the forest. Anyways, you may know who I'm talking about. Now, somebody put a comment, if he was homeless, why didn't he just go into a homeless shelter, and if he got a job, then he could go to his job from the homeless shelter? Holy smackaroons, somebody has got no bloody idea. Now, these documentaries I've seen, a lot of them feature the same people, and sometimes other people as well. But, the one that I can talk definitively about contain the people that appear in Dark Days, which is one of my favourite movies. A doe with a luck on it. Anyways, basically, if you've seen video footage or been in the inside of these places, you'll know what they're like. And basically, they're four beds to a room. Now, by a room, I mean like just little walls that are basically just above your waist height. They don't go to the ceiling. They're just these little stumpy walls like this. No privacy worth a cracker. Stories that come back, stories that I've seen in these documentaries. First they steal all your money, then they steal all your clothes, and then they beat you up. One bloke in there who went in there basically said that he went in there out of necessity, and then he didn't start any trouble with anyone, but he got involved in 3 fights in the first night of being there, and he thought, stuff this, better just to live in an abandoned building, or something like that. Anyway, he ended up having probably the best house in the Dark Days documentary. He's a young bloke who's in his 20s. You'll see him if you watch that movie / documentary. These joints are terrible. When any of these homeless people get money, whether it's from welfare, whether it's from whatever, the ones that aren't off the rails, and I mean, all of them aren't off the rails, but there's a lot of them that are on drugs and things like that. Even the ones here, it's either drugs or blooming mental problems due to the same Premier / Governor who sold the power stations off, and that another cost-cutting thing was to close most of the mental hospitals. And some of these people, they didn't have the mental capacity to know anything about the forms, anything about the welfare office and how to deal with the welfare office and whatnot, and they just fell straight through the cracks, and they just, bang, were homeless before you knew it. They just got forgotten about and fell through the cracks. And some of those mental people are homeless, and some of the other homeless are drug addicts. And on occasion they're both, but usually, they're one or the other. But plenty of them tend to be drug addicts, and some of them are honest to God people up shit creek due to bankruptcy and things like that, and they don't have any family to fall back on, or they're estranged from their said family due to real issues with the family. But anyways, or disagreements that happened many years ago. But anyways, when they do get any welfare money or anything like that, they usually live in a cheap motel for a few days just to be on their own and avoid getting the shit beat out of them and stuff like that. you know, people rifling through their stuff looking for whatever, money, drugs from cells, whatever, you know. That sort of, you know, that pretty much sums up a lot of what it's like. Now, there was a bloke who appeared in one of these documentaries who was the head of a large homeless shelter, a large men's homeless shelter in New York City. And he didn't sit there pissing and moaning about, oh, the poor people, this, that and the other. He basically said straight out that a lot of the people who are here have been, you know, have ended up here because their best decisions in life led them here. And so we're asking these people to stop thinking for themselves and let us think for them for a while until they get back on their feet and get sorted out a bit more. You could tell that he really knew what he was talking about, and he wasn't just some lefty that was just in love with wanting to help everybody out. You know, love this whole charity feel and oh, it feels good to be in charity, you know. You know, there's another one I've seen with a girl who got beaten up by her mother, and she ended up in one of these places. And she got a university scholarship, and she was doing that while living in a homeless shelter. She spent 3 years living in a homeless shelter. Holy hell, that's when you need a boyfriend or someone who can take you in, because it's hard enough doing university as it is, let alone doing it while you're living in a homeless shelter. And she used to be in a room with another girl, and this other girl would go out, try and buy drugs, didn't have enough money to buy drugs, go to the dollar store, buy some glue, and then come back and try and, you know, start huffing the glue, you know, chroming, we call it here, when they do it with spray cans. Now they've got all these spray cans with propellant in them that, you know, you can't get high off. And, you know, basically, there she was trying to inhale the solvents of this paint, and then she'd, you know, flake out, and she would hit her head on the bed as she fell down or something stupid like that. And this girl would say, I didn't know if she just passed out because of the solvents and she'd hit her head very hard and I should go get someone, or she'd just, you know, half the reason she's on the ground was because she hit the bed, or she didn't really hit her that hard. Should I get somebody? Is she going to be all right? And you know, she just passed out because of the solvent. You know, she said, stupid crap like this happens every single night, sometimes several times a night. You know, and if that's homeless shelters, would you want to live in a damn homeless shelter and then go to a job every day? Or would you rather live in a camper in the forest and try and go to a job every day? I think it's pretty simple, you know, and I was a bit shocked that somebody, you know, I mean, I suppose these people just don't watch the documentaries I watch, but I was a bit shocked at, you know, the plain bloody stupid comment, basically. So damn naive, you know, that think that. But anyways, I'll make one on some of the welfare and shenanigans and white trash shenanigans around here and why I'm not so much cozy about charities and welfare. And when you've seen what I've seen, you'd understand why. You know, there's the island theory here, where and I've heard this coming from newspaper head editors of major newspapers in capital cities. They've talked about the island theory. There's another boss I had used to talk about it, and it's a common theory here. Because we've got so many islands around Australia, we should get all these useless sods who are just a weight on society, serial killers, you know, blooming child molesters, real bad white trash drug addicts, and basically just drop them on an island and say, sort your bloody selves out, here's a few seeds to work out how to grow this stuff, and if you don't work yourself out, you can starve to death. And then, you know, nice shark-infested waters or something like that so that they won't get back to the mainland. But yeah, I'll talk a bit about some of that stuff in another video.